Welcome to the channel, the Boosted Fam. Welcome to the channel. Behind me is the Ford F-150 Tremor. I've had it for about 6 months now and over 10,000 miles already. I'm gonna go over a review of what I think about it, and the only real new thing for 2023 is you can actually order it with the 5-liter Coyote motor. So this is the EcoBoom, the 3.5 twin turboed. They didn't have the 5.0 option whenever I bought the truck, so I'm sitting here with the EcoBoom. Okay, fine, EcoBoost, but I heard that terminology a long time ago when they had their original problems with this motor. I've never had a single problem ever. I've had the Raptor with it and this truck now. And a big question I get all the time, what is a Tremor? Well, if you've ever seen the Ford FX4 package, this is a really good medium in between that and the Raptor. Most features of the Raptor, except it a little bit smaller tire, doesn't have the wide body, and the interior is 2 inches more narrow, just like the rest of the F-150s. The Raptors actually have the interior that's just as wide as a Super Duty. But that's the big difference. This, to me, after my 18 Raptor I had versus this, other than obviously the big touchscreen that they've added to it since then, the only real difference to me is this one's a little bit more practical due to the simple fact of I do tow every once in a while, and the reason why I don't have the Raptor now is I end up starting to have to tow after I'd already bought it. So then it got traded for a diesel at the time. If you've ever kept up with the channel, I go through cars very quickly. So now we're sitting here with the Tremor. Absolutely love it. Best truck I've ever bought to this point in time. I've had the aluminum duty F250 Platinums. Actually, I've had a few Super Duty Platinums, the Raptor and this. The only upgrade I could see for this truck would honestly be the Raptor if you never plan on towing. And I'll probably honestly have another Raptor one day. That's my retirement truck if I ever get there. But for generic purposes, for the average person that doesn't want to spend an extra 10 to 15 grand for a Raptor, I think that's the best option you can have. I live out here on a farm. It does everything I need to around the farm. Minus, I haven't had the guts yet to take it through the woods because it is still a very expensive truck, and I'd rather go buy a side-by-side for the woods or anything like that. Before I get any deeper into the review on this truck, I will tell you at the end of this video, I'm going to give some updates on our Explorer ST 3.0 twin turbo. It sounds like I'll put the video at the end of this showing why my wife has allowed me to start tinkering with it and start a build on that car. She was down in Mexico, I'll show the video later, whooped up on a Mercedes and kept up with a Jaguar. Well, it pulled at the top end, and she was like, oh man, I was so close. Like, well, sweetie, just a few $100 and you could have beat the Jaguar. So it sounds like that might be a good to go on starting that build finally after almost a year. And then I will give you the updates on what we're doing with our 1972 F250 6.0 Powerstroke. Four-wheel drive conversion. Well, it's actually on an 04 chassis. So it's four-wheel drive, lifted, 35s, but it needs a lot of work to get where it needs to be. Starting with the exterior of the truck, 10,000 miles later, these tires still look basically brand new, which is a rare thing I've had with a lot of vehicles. When I bought them brand new, usually they throw on a set of cheap tires. 20,000 miles later, those things are shot. But these ones are holding up amazing. I've had it in four-wheel drive a few times messing around out on the farm, but it was never actually needed. And we've had snow here. With all the rain, it is a mud pit out here. So it is pretty hard keeping this truck clean. I sprayed it off for the video, but as you can tell, I didn't get really far in detail. Just try to make the truck look pretty presentable. And my family originally didn't like this, but this is different about the F-150 versus the F-250, except for 2023. 2023, the Super Duties will have this goldish orange trim as well. And no, the truck is not spotless, but it'll never be while we're having all this rain and everything. And one more feature is it does have the hood vents just like the Raptor. So there's your just over 10,000 miles on the truck. Just go ahead and get you over to the fuel mileage over 10,000 miles. And I will say this truck has a whole lot of idle time on it. During the winter and stuff, or if our kid falls asleep in the truck, we've been known to, he'll only take naps in the vehicle. So we have been known in the truck to let it, no joke, run for about 45 minutes to an hour just to make sure he actually gets some sleep. But we're at 16.5. That was reset by the dealership at 5 miles before I went to go pick up the truck, whenever they's doing all their little run through on the truck and make sure it's good to go. And there's your 324 hours. So yeah, it had a lot of hours on for the amount of mileage. This truck, I would say, would be just shy of a Platinum or a Ultimate Lariat. It does have all the features and everything, including even the little desk here. The only thing it doesn't have is the 18 speaker sound system, but with B&O is already good enough. I felt no need to pay the extra little bit of money for that. And 95% of the time, I have a family full in here. Seats are still hold up extremely well, even in the back with this car seat. If you take the car seat out, there's no spots in it or anything over the past 6 months. And I have a 10-year-old as well with the 3-year-old, so everything still looks brand new if you just give it a nice wipe down. So the interior is holding up awfully well with the family, especially on the farm, because we do go out to the woods and everything, just not through them. And it's extremely muddy most of the time, so everything's held up extremely well. One of the cons to this truck that most people are saying, I've never had an issue. It's only been 6 months, so there's still a possibility. As you can tell, my truck is loaded down a majority of the time. With my job, I'm on the road. I go wherever they need me for the day. But a lot of people say this right here is not holding up. Back whenever we started construction and doing everything out here on the farm, trying to get the house put up, I was throwing cinder blocks in here, concrete, a whole lot of things that most people will never even do. I've never had a single issue. It's not peeled anywhere or anything for me. Not to say that it won't eventually, because it's only been 6 months, but 10,000 miles later, you should have a good general idea of what it's going to do. And then actually, I need to hop back into the truck, just point out the other two issues. Now, these are issues I've actually had. Every once in a while, once, twice a month, whenever you turn on the truck, you get going down the road, the left side speakers will cut out on me. And then you only hear it from the right side. And it's just not been a big enough issue to take the Ford and not have my truck and be driving around in whatever they give me for the moment. And then, let me get back in here, show this little section. All right, whenever I come in here, see, it go ahead and kicks on the phone, everything just like you want to. But every once in a while, it'll have a major problem trying to, it'll just connect only my iPhone, but it won't actually do the Pandora and everything. It won't actually connect the Apple CarPlay, which once again, you wouldn't think would be that big of an issue. But when you're trying to listen to Pandora or something, because we do a lot of traveling and don't want to find a radio station on FM all the way to Canada and everything. So whenever this doesn't kick in, I thought it may be the phone, but then trying to connect my wife's phone, my daughter's phone, any of the phones, it just won't connect the Apple CarPlay. Probably about once a week, honestly. Which, once again, not a major ordeal, but it's still something that is very tedious, and you think for what you pay for a new vehicle, it shouldn't be an issue. One of the things a lot of people don't think about right off the bat, which I didn't either until having my original Raptor, which had these same running boards, it blocks so much from coming up and actually chipping the paint out here on the farm. It's amazing to have, and even really daily driving on the roads would still be great to have. Those rocks everywhere on the roads slinging up. I would advise going ahead and getting your mud flaps, but this right here does an awesome job of not having to worry about that. So I find those a whole lot better than the amp steps. They're nice, they're fancy, but that's also something that can go wrong in some of your vehicles is those amp steps. I had to go wrong in my 17 F250, and then my wife had to go wrong on one of her vehicles as well. I will be having some future upgrades just to a few things that Ford can't do from the factory that I really want to do, or they won't spend the money for it. But the only thing that has been done to this truck so far, and I'm absolutely in love with this truck, I've had about 20 trucks in my short amount of time driving. That's not a good thing. That's going to be what keeps me from retirement. But all I've had to do so far, 10,000 miles later, I tinted the front windows, and I've just put in a new air filter. That's all that's been done to this truck other than oil changes. And I will say, before the winter time, how I showed you that now it's only getting 16.5 miles to the gallon. Before winter time, all of this idling and everything, I was honestly about 18 miles to the gallon on average, which I think for this size of truck with a more aggressive tire and everything, I think that's pretty good. And then I've heard these things turn into absolute beasts, and even better than what the Raptor is, with just a few bucks here and there. One of them being your air intake, exhaust spacers after the turbos, and a simple tune. I think I will be putting the exhaust spacers and the SPD exhaust on it. It makes it almost sound just like a new deleted diesel, and you get the awesome sound without having to worry about the EPA. So that's always a really nice thing, because that's why I actually don't have my 17 Platinum anymore, because we were the first people to show the process of losing some parts in Mexico, and well, they didn't like that. If there's any more questions about the review, I know I didn't go over everything in great detail, but the truck is still just like it came off the lot 6 months ago. It's in great shape, other than it needs a good detailing. Other than that, truck is exactly like I bought it off the showroom floor, and I have honestly used the truck. I've used this truck more than I've used most trucks I've ever had. So that's why I thought it was good to let people realize that these new trimmers, they're the real deal. If I had any issues, I'd be the first one to go ahead and tell you that there's major issues, other than the speakers on the left side and Apple CarPlay not connecting every single time. Both those are very rare, and I know Ford will look into it and fix it. It's just I haven't taken the time to take it there. But now to the next little subject at hand, just moving over to the left, the 72 F250. The reason why it hasn't been touched yet, since I've had it back for the past week or two, is due to today is the warmest day we've had in a long time, and it's only 45 degrees. So I will be getting to this as soon as we get a little bit nicer, warmer weather. I think we did actually have a 70-degree day a few days ago, but I was on a 24-hour shift, and I can't come here and work on my truck whenever I'm at work for 24 hours. So that was a buzzkill, but we will be diving into this pretty good and solid. And I did find a guy very local, actually just a couple miles from here, that is known for restoring these trucks. So I should be able to bounce a lot off him and be able to get him to tell me what I truly need whenever he looks at, which he'll only be really able to help me with the body parts and stuff like that. Since this does have a 6.0 Powerstroke in it, that's going to be probably, I'm guessing, it may not be, but I'm guessing that'll be a little bit out of his range of expertise, because he always deals with all the old Ford motors. And I'm starting off with a schematic of this engine. So my other mechanic buddy, he's already said, give him a schematic. We can get it up and running, connect all the drive line, make sure the shocks are good. And we can at least have it to where it is movable. And then I have another thing in the back pocket that I'm going to work on the next video for this truck. But we'll wait till the next video to get really into that. And now I'll go ahead and dump in the video of why my wife is okay with building her Ford Explorer ST now. Jaguar's not pulling! Woo, America! Lastly, for the build on this little guy, now that you just seen the video, what was funny is it was my father-in-law thought that was me, but it actually wasn't me. I was the one recording Ryan's shotgun. But this one right here, supposedly there are some tunes out there that Ford is okay with that doesn't put too much. So for the build on this, for the build on this little guy right here, I've heard that there's a few tunes that Ford is okay with that won't void the warranty. I have to really look into that for this one and actually the Tremor, because these do have lifetime powertrain warranties, and would absolutely suck to lose that. But at the same point in time, being that this one's already halfway paid off, it wouldn't be a bad option and a whole lot more fun to see what these things can really do. But I'm thinking exhaust on this one, maybe the turbo spacers, I don't know about that, air intake, and then just a tune. Same concept as the Tremor, if we are going to go those routes and actually be able to somehow keep a warranty. I know everything past the turbos shouldn't void a warranty anyway, so we'll at least put on the exhaust systems and possibly those exhaust spacers, just so we can have that awesome tone coming out of both of these vehicles and just hear a whole lot of turbo. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Stop by for the first time. Please subscribe. You all have a great day.